with all your projects, like feeling so personal, you have to be your biggest champion, like selling it to the studio, to the audience, writing it, directing it. So what happens when you have moments of like hesitation or doubt about your ability personally, or whether the project is worth making? How do you grapple with that? How do you overcome it? Thank you.
No, cheers. I will genuinely answer that question because I think it's important, and I think there's some filmmakers in the room, and I struggle with that all the time. Like, it's the number one problem of making a film is essentially you're taking, depends on the film, but you're taking a lot of money, and in this case, millions and millions and millions of dollars from strangers, promising you'll return it in 2 years by doing your art, right? And you just spend the whole time going, what am I doing? Like, I'm kidding myself. You know what I mean? Like, I all day long, every day, spend the whole time thinking I'm deluded. I've made a terrible mistake. And basically the graph of making a film, and I'm only saying this if it helps other people who feel this way and go, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing it because I just is the graph of making a film is when you're on your own and you start fantasizing about, oh, you know what, I think would make a good film, or I'd like to see it. It's blah blah blah, blah. And you start picturing this film. It gets better and better. You listen to music, you not necessarily write it, but you just conceive it, and it just goes higher and higher and higher. And then basically in pre-production, the graph goes up to like the level of a masterpiece. Like in your head, you're like, I think we're gonna make the greatest film ever made, right? Else you wouldn't bother, right? You've got to aim really crazy high. It's so stressful, and there's so much of blood, sweat, and tears. So you aim crazy high, you go, I think it might be really, really good. And then you start making it. And one day at a time, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And you're like, this is not how I pictured it. It's all going wrong. And by the end of the shoot, the lowest point on that graph is the day they show you the assembly. So basically, the day the editor has put something together without a single conversation and just kind of shows you all the material. And I always start off that screening by explaining, if I don't commit suicide by the time the credits roll, that is a win, right? Like, and I mean it. Like, I am going to want to kill myself. And it's nothing to do with the editor or anything. It's literally the realization of, oh my God, I didn't get anything the way I thought I had it. And then as you edit, it gets a little better the next day. You cut all that shit out that was terrible, and a little better, a little better. And over the whole process of editing, it goes up and up and up and up. A great film is when it goes up and up and up, and it reaches a similar level, a dotted line, if you could draw that rule, to where you first were, right? I've never done that, right? I've never got to that place, but oh, you're gonna beam up.
I'm out of here.
And but it is, you hopefully get to a point where you saying that very kind thing you said at the start of that, even though that's one person in the world, I don't care. One person in the world likes the movie. And so I'm like, that's a win for me. And it's things like that that make you go, okay, maybe we didn't completely waste our time. Do you know what I mean? And as crazy as that sounds, you should spend the whole time I do. Do you? Like, paranoid that you're just an imposter?
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, this was my first big studio film. So I spent every day being like, I don't know why I'm here. like Greg and Gareth are nuts for agreeing to bring me halfway around the world, as if I know what I'm doing. And then that stays in your head. That's a thought that you put in a little box, and then you put it in the drawer of, filing cabinet of your brain, and you shove it shut and you kick it and you lock it. And then you show up to set.
It fell out again. Oh no, quick, get it back in.
Exactly. The next day it falls out again. You're like, fucking stubborn thought, like, get back in there. I'm trying to make a movie here. But yeah,
I don't have any of those thoughts.
Yeah, James just rolls in, I'm the shit. These designs are great.
Thing every time.
But to explain, this is true, and I agree with you, right? Because James lives in the high point of the graph. this is when you're conceiving the film and it's getting higher. That's when you first talk to someone like a designer, right? Concept artist or a production designer. When it's like in the, like, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. That's when you start painting pictures and it looks incredible and everyone's super excited. And then James, go see you. Well, this is not what happened in our film, but typically on a production designer goes away a little bit and you don't see them. You're busy making the film and we reunited. And this is a very unique thing, is that in post-production, usually the production designer has gone at the end of the shoot. James stayed on all through post with Industrial Light and Magic, doing all the visual effects and all the other vendors as well, painting over everything. Like, it's basically everything that looks good in this film is because James painted it that way. And so
a team of people.
wait, they're not.
They have names.
They're not here. They're not going to know. Just take the credit. Okay. Oh, this is going on the. Oh, shit.
Never mind. They're gonna know.
So essentially, James lives at the end as well as it gets better and better. So you're kind of a hero.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, very good.
I don't
Yeah.
feel those dips, but yeah,
yeah.
I can see the darkness.
But also one thing I'll add is that on set, I don't feel it from Gareth. Like, Gareth shows up and I feel, oh, look, this guy's confidently making the movie, making all these shot choices, designing the shots, like knows what he wants. As a DP, like working with a director like that that's the dream, is to have somebody who just knows what they want. It feels so basic to say it, but there's a lot of people that don't even hit that bar, and that has taste.
we're talking about somebody that has a track record. If it was Monsters, I'd be like, who the fuck is this guy?
Totally.
Like, with no money doing this, but sorry guys, it's Gareth Edwards.
Yeah.
Like, I had a certain amount of faith that the movie was going to
Exactly.
be something.
Well, and I think
It
that
was.
the thing is on set, it doesn't show. So, you show up and you just make the movie. Like, and it was the same for me. It's like, you get up, you show up, even with those thoughts and even with doubt, you're like, but I need to make the movie and I need to make this good. And I need to make sure this shot looks good and that this lighting setup is good. And it's like all those thoughts, the doubt and all of it is like, it's always there, but it ultimately doesn't really matter, because what matters, at least for me in the cinematography side, is like, but I'm sure it's the same with the directing. It's what you're talking about with the edit. What matters is what's in the final movie, is where does it end up? And so it's like, you just need to put those thoughts in the box and just take it day by
One
day.
thing to clarify, which is the schizophrenia of it, is so don't. This is where it just sounds like a contradiction, and it's hard to say this because we're in a room and people are recording it and it ends up on the internet. And I don't think anything I've done is any good ever, but there is part of your brain that goes, "This is going to be great, and I can do this, and I was born to do this."
Yeah.
Like, and I will do this and die in the attempt. And then the second you start doing it, like I have this strange thing where I'm so confident in my own head, like I'm really ultra confident. But the second it comes out of my head and I tell someone the idea or I film someone and show someone it, I'm like, oh my God, this is shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm apologizing. I wish I'd never done it. But inside, it's amazing. And so there is this real big contradiction of like, it's not like you just constantly doubt yourself. Inside my head, I'm not at all. But then it's a really weird, complete kind
You
of
haven't
roller
noticed
coaster.
Gareth's English, and that's an English trait, is just not have that outward confidence. I think, even though it's in your head.
Let's blame Britain for everything.
That's
James.
That's a good
It's the-
note to
it's
end
the
on.
American way.